Gosh, way out for the folks at the Coconut. Listen to us in West Texas at Alpine. Neighbor, I'm Larry Marble. Come on down that pecan tree-lined lane, through the screen door, into Down on the Farm Radio's kitchen. Sit with me here at Granny Marble's kitchen table. We'll have a big old heaping helping of Hop Sing's chicken fried steak and jalapeno gravy, Nanny's East rolls, and a cold cucumber salad. I'll pour the iced tea, and we'll also provide you with a big heaping helping of agricultural information. But first off, let's take a look at Down on the Farm Radio ag weather. You folks up in Abilene, y'all are going to be mostly sunny. 46 your high, 29 the low, winds out of the north at 16. Drop down to Junction, mostly sunny, 50 the high, 24 the low tomorrow morning. Y'all are going to have a northwesterly wind, about 12. San Antonio will call you mostly sunny, 49 your high, 25 the low. Alice will call you mostly sunny, 49 and 25. Bryan College Station will call you sunny, 62 and 40. And for Alpine, you're sunny, 62 and 40. Neighbor, there is your ag weather for Down on the Farm Country. Neighbor, let's take a look at corn, beans, wheat, and cotton. In corn, after threatening to finish lower for the third consecutive day, Wednesday, corn futures rallied on strong China buy rumors. Early today, March corn futures were again higher. The rumors of China buying as much as 1 million metric tons of April U.S. corn made the rounds. Rumors of China's interest in U.S. soybeans on Wednesday failed to bring a higher close, and January beans had slipped nearly 60 cents below that magic $12 number in 3 days. Now, early today, the entire soy complex is recovering, with beans up sharply. As we look toward wheat, those futures mixed to start the Thursday session. Chicago and Kansas City down, Minneapolis barely in the red. Also weighing on wheat to begin the Thursday trade is the word that India may have sold 250 metric ton of wheat to Bangladesh at a sharp discount to Black Sea wheat. We also have seen heavy snows in both Kansas and Oklahoma in the past few days, and the U.S. dollar has fallen. That is going to help most all commodities. Neighbor, let's move toward cotton. Those prices affect a large portion of Texas, including a large portion of Down on the Farm Country. But remember, Down on the Farm goes all the way from, Aspermont all the way down to Alice. Let's take a look at the market. Economic lemons are being taken today, and they're trying to make economic lemonade. Overall, the U.S. dollar took a tumble into fresh contract lows, while U.S. stock markets are higher. As we look toward the meat side of the issue, steady to 50 lower on live cattle. Narrow losses are slowly backing away from the positive price shifts seen midweek as the traders try to assess just how much downward market pressure is eroding beef box values, or box beef values, will have for the entire complex. As we look toward the feeders, feeder cattle futures continue to hover within a very narrow but mixed trading range today. The focus on price pressure in live cattle, combined with renewed gains in corn futures, has led to initial buyer slowing or resistance, but steadily backing away from the complex. There remains uncertainty as to just how much additional price shifts will be seen during the morning as the traders continue to look for long-term direction. Lean hogs steady to 60 lower. Light pressure is slowly but steadily developing early today as traders focus on follow-through selling. Pressure driving lean hog futures lower. The pork cutout value seen Wednesday is giving a little support to the complex, however. Neighbor, now it's time to look at state issues through the eyes of Tom Nicoletti and the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network and the program Texas News and Views.
The state of the Texas economy through the coronavirus pandemic. I'm Tom Nicoletti with Texas News and Views from the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. More after this break.
You're looking for soybeans that give you the yield you want. But when it comes to fighting your toughest weeds, you also need flexibility. Introducing Extend Flex soybeans. Elite genetics with triple tolerance to dicamba, glyphosate, and glufosinate. The yield you want, the choice you need. Learn more at extendflexsoy.com. Always Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to insure your home for Texas-size weather. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
During Texas Farm Bureau's virtual convention this week, Governor Greg Abbott addressed the organization's membership on a variety of issues. Farm Bureau President Russell Baining was part of that conversation.
Governor, in June, Comptroller Hager projected a large budget shortfall. Has our state improved since then?
You know, it has. In June was in the early aftermath of the initial kind of jarring stages of the response to COVID. And we saw a downturn in state revenue in April and May and June. And then it did begin to get better in July and August. I thought I heard some numbers where July and August may have been as good as, if not better, than July and August were of 2019. They slowed down a little bit maybe in September and October, but there's going to be some ups and downs. But because things are getting more open, I've been on I-35 the past few days and in San Antonio and Austin. Let me tell you, it's packed out there. And people are out shopping, people are out doing things. And so Texas is getting going. And also, I know a lot about what 2021 looks like. 2021 is going to be a very robust year for us economically. The budget shortfall will easily be met by one or several of different strategies. One is we always have the Rainy Day Fund, which is really known as the Economic Stabilization Fund. And so the ESF has plenty of money in it that could address some shortfall. There is the possibility of either using some CARES Act funding or using some potential additional funding that Congress may pass to assist us in closing any type of budgetary gap. I've had multiple conversations with the Secretary of the Treasury, Mnuchin, who's in charge of trying to craft potential stimulus bills. And we talked extensively about potential budgetary shortfalls, what Texas would need to make up for that shortfall, and then working with us to try to address the shortfall. We'll see how that pans out as Congress does meet again, and we know that they have to pass another budget timetable in December. And I'm under the belief that we can expect at least this issue being put on the table. So we'll know more in December about what type of funding we may have. All that said, because of the amount of money that we have in our Economic Stabilization Fund, I'm not concerned a lot about our budget situation because I know where we stand with regard to potential incoming revenue. I know where we stand with regard to the shortfall that we have and our ability to address it with the funds we have on hand.
Those comments from Governor Greg Abbott during the 87th Annual Convention of the Texas Farm Bureau in a virtual hookup for farmers and ranchers statewide. The TFB annual meeting will conclude with an in-person business session at the Waco Convention Center Saturday, December 5th. In-person registration from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., with the business session beginning at 1 p.m.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to find an agent who's there when you need them most. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
This is Texas News and Views. I'm Tom Nicoletti with the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Neighbor, it is time to fill our plates with chicken fried steak, jalapeno gravy, plenty of Nanny's East rolls, and a cold cucumber salad. I'll pour the iced tea while we speak to Carl Herman from Caldwell Livestock Commission Company Caldwell. He sold on Wednesday. Carl, how was that sale?
We had a good sale yesterday. Had 950 head for 133 consigners and 48 buyers on a steady to higher calf market, steady cow market. We had over 100 cows and bulls, slaughter cows 30 to 60, slaughter bulls 60 to 86, stocker cows 600 to 900, and the pairs 600 to 1200. On the calves, steers 2 to 3 weights, 160 to 182. The 3 to 4 weight steers brought 155 to 187. 4 to 5 weights, 145 to 177. 5 to 6 weights, 130 to 167. 6 to 7 weight steers, 115 to 130, and the 7 to 8 weights, 110 to 118. On the heifer side, 2 to 3 weights, 130 to 155. 3 to 4 weight heifers brought 135 to 180. 4 to 5 weights, 130 to 172. 5 to 6 weights, 120 to 135. 6 to 7 weight heifers, 110 to 125. And the 7 to 8 weights, $1 to $1.15. Overall, the cattle were just a little bit higher than they were when we took off before Thanksgiving. On the calves, cows pretty steady. So we look forward to next week.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you if they've got something to bring or if they want to come and buy something.
Yes, sir. My number is 979-820-5349. Call the barn at 567-4119. Or from the Giddings and surrounding area, call Max Ebner at 540-8676.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, Larry.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Neighbor, here's a quick reminder about the Lone Star Angus Alliance. December the 4th, 2020, bull and female sale. Happens at 1 p.m. there in Hallettsville. There'll be 30 yearling, 78 2-year-old, and 20 open commercial Brangus heifers. For more information, 361-798-6558. That's the Lone Star Angus Alliance bull and female sale in Hallettsville, December the 4th, 1 p.m. There'll be 30 yearling, 78 2-year-old, and 20 open commercial Brangus heifers. Call 361-798-6558. Call 361-798-6558. Well, neighbor, we were in Caldwell. I guess you'd call that kind of post-oak Savannah country is what I was taught when I was a county agent. Let's go up to Fredericksburg into the hill country. Everybody knows where that's at. And talk to Wayne Geiswhite, Gillespie Livestock, Fredericksburg. Wayne, how was your cattle sale?
I had a pretty good sale today. Didn't quite have what we thought we might have. We ended with 1,314 head, I believe. Cow markets $1 or $2 cheaper. They took off money again today. You know, anything that was bred, we had people buying those, getting a little more money for them. A few cows bring up into the 50s, maybe up to 55 cents. Some of the bred cows, old red cows that bred 6 months up, you know, will bring from 48 to 55 or 6. And, you know, they didn't have any kind of figure like that in them. They're using those embryos for blood deals, so that helped quite a bit. Calf market, I quoted 6 weight steers down, probably 2 to 5 higher, with probably 3 and 4 or 5 weight cattle. Some of those calves were up $10, $12 higher. So it's a 3 weights right up to, backed up to close to $2, weighing $3.50. Some 4 weights up close to $1.90. 5 weights, even had a 5 weight calf get into the low 170s today. 6 weights, of course, they were about like they were before, kind of, you know, 125 to 135. 7 weight yearling cattle, steers, that thing was maybe a tad softer. I'm going to quote them a little higher on the board, up to 125. We didn't have anything that last 2 weeks ago. The heifer market straight across was probably $2 to $5 higher. And some of those really light heifers, probably $10 or $12 higher, weighing in the 3s. And, they bring up into the 150s. In fact, a few bring in the low 160s. 4 weights close to 150 and 5 weights into the 130s. So it was, the good cattle were a whole lot better, and there was a little more play on some of the plainer cattle today. Unless you had a longhorn, of course, they just probably can't hardly give one of them away.
How about next week?
Well, we've got the cattle that were canceled this week. A truckload of real fancy steers and heifers, probably weighing the 6s. Some other people that couldn't make it this week, they got a little more rain than we did right here. You know, they'll probably be showing up. So we figure we'll get more cattle next week and probably a few more sheep and goats.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you, Wayne Geiswhite.
We're at 830-997-4394.
I'm Larry Marble with Down on the Farm, and I'm on the line with Stephen from D&D Farm and Ranch. Stephen, there's lots of products at D&D, but you're responsible for a certain portion of them, aren't you?
Yes, sir, sure are. We've got, Larry, the largest stock of farm and ranch equipment in the entire state of Texas.
If folks want to come out and investigate all those products, how do they get a hold of you?
They can call us at 830-379-7340, extension 260, and ask for any of our sales associates.
Neighbor, I know most of you know what the word anecdotal means. That means someone tells you about their experience, the way things happened with them in their portion of the country, their little farm or ranch. Something within their life that may have not been as exactly the way you experienced it. Well, this year we're hearing anecdotal information about breeding problems with cows on wheat pasture. Primarily when we start those heifers prior to the time they're bred on that pasture. Dr. Bob Judd talks about it on today's Texas Vet Report. Dr. Bob?
A lot of producers have questions about growing replacement heifers before, during, and after the breeding season. There are some anecdotal reports that there is decreased breeding performance when replacement heifers are bred while grazing on wheat pasture. Dr. Glenn Selk indicates in Bovine Veterinarian that Oklahoma State conducted a study to compare reproductive performance of heifers before and during breeding. For 2 years, 40 spring-born Angus heifers were placed on wheat pasture in December, and 20 heifers remained on wheat pasture in March during breeding, while the other 20 heifers were placed in a dry lot and fed a corn-based growing ration. All heifers were bred using heat synchronization and artificial insemination. 10 days after the artificial insemination, all heifers were exposed to fertile bulls for 45 days, and ultrasound was used to detect pregnancy at 32 days after artificial insemination. The percentage of heifers cycling was much greater for heifers on wheat pasture at 75% versus only 55% cycling in the dry lot. There was very little difference in weights on heifers on dry lot versus wheat pasture, and pregnancy rates were slightly increased in the heifers on wheat pasture at 53% compared to only 43% in heifers in the dry lot. Final pregnancy rates after using the cleanup bulls indicated 95% of the heifers on pasture were pregnant and 88% on the dry lot were pregnant. This study indicates that pregnancy rates are just as good, if not slightly better, with heifers grazing wheat pasture versus being fed in a dry lot.
You're looking for soybeans that give you the yield you want. But when it comes to fighting your toughest weeds, you also need flexibility. Introducing Extend Flex soybeans. Elite genetics with triple tolerance to dicamba, glyphosate, and glufosinate. The yield you want, the choice you need. Learn more at extendflexsoy.com. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to get insurance for Texans by Texans. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
If you have any questions about today's program or any of our programs, contact me at texvet@txfb.org. I'm Dr. Bob Judd. This is the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Neighbor, when you hear Milk Cow Blues on a Thursday, it's time to talk to Ken Jordan. Why about milk cows? Well, he's going to have a special this Saturday that'll have plenty of breeding animals that will milk and raise a grand baby calf. Ken, talk to us about the work you're already doing for that sale.
And we're already shaping up. I think we've unloaded about 2,600 for that Saturday special. We'll have over 3,300 probably for that, Larry. Just outstanding set of cattle. We cut very few cattle off so far for the sale. Most everything we have is either heifers, bred or open, and very young set of pairs and young set of bred cows. So I'm real pleased with how the cattle are shaping up everything. We're going to have that sale on Saturday starting 10 o'clock, a little over 300 and something pairs, about 1,000 bred cows, 1,400 bred heifers, and about 600 open heifers. And quality runs very deep, Larry. And if anybody wants to go look at some of the consignments, everything, they can give us a call or they can go to our website. We got several videos up on some of the cattle. Our website's jordancattle.com. Phone number to get a hold of us is at 325-372-5159, Larry.
We appreciate it, and we'll talk with you after the sale.
You bet, Larry. Thank you.
Neighbor, quickly, let's review our commodities of ag interest. March corn, 426 1/4, up 2 1/4. March Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 5 1/4 at 548 1/4. March number 2 cotton up a nickel at 71.65. February live cattle down 107, 112.85. February feeder cattle 140.72, down 107. And your January crude contract is up 6 at 45.31. That's your West Texas crude. Neighbor, they're your commodities of ag interest. Neighbor, let's take a look at the grains, courtesy of John Tuggle. Call 800-288-4453. Number 2 or better Milo through Corpus in December, March plus 250, 1203. Calling Progresso $11. Yellow corn through Corpus in December, March plus 40, 463 3/4. Calling Progresso 870. Number 1 hard red winter wheat through Corpus in December, March plus 70, 623 3/4. We'll call Houston March plus 95, 648 3/4. Calling Houston beans December, January delivery, January plus 10, 1164 3/4. Placido January plus 85, 647 3/4. 4,000 bales of East Texas cotton, 1,837 bale of West Texas cotton, neighbor. That brought them to 5,840 bales statewide. Average price, $66.85. Neighbor, that's it for grains and cotton and this edition of Down on the Farm. I'm Larry Marble.